Hello everybody, this is Game Saga and I'm going to be doing a Let's Play series for Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. And this is one of my favorite RPGs from back in the 16-bit days, and a pretty classic game in my opinion. And we're going to attempt to get some of the alternate endings as well once we get to that point, but that's going to be a while since it is an RPG and those do take a while to finish. So let's get started here and see what happens. And right now I'm setting up the battle mode and giving Chrono his name. I'm just going to use the default names for all the characters to make it simpler to determine who's going to be who and keep names straight and that sort of thing. Make it easier to follow along. And here we see the square where we're going to be going to momentarily, and the village where Chrono lives. And we're going into Chrono's house. And Chrono's mom is talking to him, trying to get him woken up in time to go to the fair that's at the square. And there you see Chrono and his mom and their cat. And he was sleeping in, like she said. And there's a treasure chest on the, I guess it's a bookshelf of sorts behind the bed, but you can't actually get to it as far as I know, which is kind of a strange place to put one, since all the other ones you can get to them, as far as I can remember. And we're on the downstairs portion of Chrono's house now, and Chrono's mom was talking about Luco, who's Chrono's friend, and she's an inventor, and that's who we're going to the fair to see. And then if you talk to her again, you can get some spending money to spend at the fair, 200 gold in this case, which will come in handy for when we need to buy equipment for Chrono. And we're going to save the game here. Always a good strategy to employ in an RPG is to save as much as possible, because you never know what might happen. And I'm going to go into some of the houses here in the village to check for treasure chests. I haven't played this game all the way through in quite some time, so I don't really remember where all the openable treasure chests are located. I remember there's a couple in the Mayor's Manor here. And we got a tonic out of that one. And then this one has some gold, which, like I said, we're going to use that at the fair to buy a sword for Chrono and some consumable items. And here we are in the inn, which you can restore your hit points and magic points like you can in all RPGs for the most part. And that is a black treasure chest there that we tried opening, and we can't open those yet at this point in the game because we need a special item to be able to do that, and we won't get that till much later in the game. And here we are at the fair, and we're going to talk to the armor vendor here just to see what we can get, and I'm deciding not to buy any because we can get some later on anyway, so it's kind of a waste of money. And we're going to buy the iron blade there for Chrono. We can save up and get the other sword, which is 4,000 gold, but that would take a while, and in the interest of time I decided not to do that. And I'm talking to the armor vendor again because I was trying to decide whether I was going to buy any or not, and like I said, I decided not to do so because I know I can get some later. And then we move up here and then we bump into a girl that's running around, and her necklace flies off, as you can see up in the top right corner. She calls it a pendant. Necklace pendant, same difference I guess. And what you do in this part of the game has an effect on a later scene in the game, so it's important that you pay attention to what you're doing, and if you want to make things as simple as possible, you need to be on your best behavior at this part of the game and not steal anything and be nice to everybody and that sort of thing. So that's why I talked to her before I went to go get the pendant. And that's Marley, of course. And then I went to go get the cat that's over there. And we're going to take the cat back to the little girl who lost her cat. who's on the other side of the screen here. The cat is very slow, as you can see, and it has some pathfinding issues. It can't walk around corners, apparently. Of course it is a cat, though. I guess cats aren't as smart as people are, but anyway, we found a little girl here that has the cat, and she's thanks Chrono for bringing the cat back. And that's about it for that part. You can talk to that guy and do a drinking contest. Or you can go on the other side of the screen and do some dancing, or you can go to the left side of the screen and fight K2, who's a robot that raps, and you get some experience and silver points, and you can trade those in for gold. And you have to talk to Melkor here to proceed with the story, and he asks you if you can sell the pendant, and I'm not sure if it matters what you say or not, but I always say no just in case. And I'm buying some consumables like I mentioned, because those will come in handy, of course. And then we get the notice that Luca's device is set up, so we can proceed with the story. And you can go to the candy vendor right there, but you can't actually talk to them. Marley's the only one that can talk to them for some reason. So you have to go up to the top to trigger her talking to them. And you have to sit here and wait for a couple minutes for her to decide what she wants, even though there's only two options. Guess it's a very tough decision to pick between. Do you want the orange ones or the pink ones? I don't know. And then we move up north here where the telepods are. And that's Luca and her father and some random people that are watching things. And you can sit here forever and nothing will happen. So you have to go and talk to Luca to trigger the rest of the story. And she asks Chrono if he wants to try it out, basically. And the idea behind this device is to teleport you from one location to another, in this case going from the left to the right. But as you can see, I just talked to Marley. You don't actually have to do that. You just talk to her and she's like, oh, that looked like fun, even though you didn't actually do anything. Which is kind of funny. And she goes up and volunteers to do it herself, because she wants to experience what Chrono supposedly experienced, even though in this case he did not experience anything. And Tabin and Luca are powering on the system to transport Marley. But then she starts flashing. And if you had done it with Chrono, you would see that he doesn't flash, so that's an indication that something's going on. And as you can see now, it triggered a reaction with the machinery there. And Marley is getting teleported into a portal. And this is going to be a major part of this game, the portal concept, if you haven't played the game before. Anyways, and the left one is the one you would use to go to where she is, and then the right one will take you to the final boss of the game. I don't think you can get there at this point, I can't remember, but you can come back there later on and get one of the endings that are in the game. And Taven and Luca tell everybody to scram, basically, and they're debating about what they should do. And Luca thinks that the girl looks familiar, and the only thing you can do here is to pick up the pendant and climb back in the telepod. So you can chase after Marley and go try to rescue her. And you get the awesome music in the background here, which is some of my favorite music in this game. And they power on the system for the telepod and get ready to send Chrono after Marley. And the pendant is what causes the portal to open, and that's going to be an important part of the game later on. And there Chrono goes to teleport to the location where Marley is and get kind of a, I don't know if it's mode 7 or some sort of other type of effect, but it's to represent you traveling through time, basically. And we're in some sort of ravine type of area with mountains and that sort of thing. And you try to leave the screen and it triggers some enemies. And this game has enemies that will be visible that you can avoid, and there's some that will be invisible like those, or that you have to walk near them to trigger them. And as you can see, I forgot to equip Chrono's new sword that I bought for him, which is pretty dumb on my part. You should always remember to equip your new equipment that you buy before you get into a fight, because you never know when something might go wrong. But in this case, those are just, you know, lowly enemies. They're not going to pose much threat to me. So after I saw that, I realized that I didn't have the iron blade equipped, and I switched to that. And then I did organize on the item list because I like to keep it organized. And there's no music in this area for some reason, but we're gonna go through here and fight some enemies and get a couple treasure chests and then move on. And some more of these stupid imps that are very weak. I think they have like maybe 16 health, maybe a little bit less. And we learned a attack ability, which is Cyclone, which will allow us to attack multiple enemies at one time. And we got a tonic, I think that was, and a power glove, which is a accessory that will increase your attack power. And of course I equipped that on Chrono since he's my only character at this point. And these guys, I think you can avoid, but I went ahead and fought them anyway because they're easy. And we're going to use Cyclone on them and show you what that looks like. Like I said, it's an attack that will attack anybody in the immediate vicinity of it. They have to be within the circular radius of the attack, otherwise they won't take any damage from it. In that case, they were all grouped together, so it made it easy to hit all three of them. And now we're in the Middle Ages, and I saved the game. Like I said, good idea to save often. And again, we're checking houses here for a treasure chest or anything we can get at the moment. And I decided to talk to the shopkeeper here to see if there's anything useful I could buy, but there wasn't. There's a dart gun. I could get that for a Luca, but she's not in the party at the moment, which is kind of weird that you can buy it. But anyway, it shows Marley as being in your party at the moment, but she isn't, which is kind of strange. I don't know if that was intentional on Square's part or a glitch. But anyways, this isn't going to be much treasure chest for us to get in the Middle Ages here. And the inn just has a black one upstairs that we can open later on. So we're going to go and proceed with the story here. Going into the forest. And here's some more enemies, slightly different versions. Green imps instead of blue ones. And using Cyclone again just to make things faster, because it's much quicker to do that and kill everybody at one time than to try to do so individually. And we got a level up for Chrono there, and a tonic, and you know, your tech points and gold and that sort of thing. And if you talk to that flashing thing at the bottom there, well, not talk to it, but you know, press the use button on it, it will trigger these guys to pop out to kill. You don't have to do that, but you know, you get your tech points and that sort of thing, so it comes in handy later on for when you need to be a certain power level to make it past the boss. And one to the north there is a power tab, and this is a consumable item that you can use to increase your character's attack power. And we're going to use this on Chrono again, since he's our only character, and he's the main character in the game, so it makes sense to use it on him. And we're just running through here to go up to the north where the castle is. And some more of these guys, Rolly Riders. And another Cyclone should wipe them out pretty easily. 1, 2, 3, they're all dead. Bye bye. Got our experience, attack points, and gold, and we're moving on. And save the game again here before we go into the castle. And the soldiers don't want to let us in because they think we're a bad guy that's here to cause problems or that sort of thing. Then Queen Lene comes down and she's saying for them to behave and show some respect to Chrono because he's a friend of hers. And they are confused and that sort of thing, and she's just like, do it or else, basically, since she's in charge. Well, her and the king, anyway. And speaking of the king, there he is, and there's a Chancellor. We talked to him, and he ran off. And the king is saying that Linnea's acting odd and that she lost a pen, and that's going to be important momentarily. But we won't cover that in this particular video. That will be in part 2, where the pen will be important. And now we're going to get some treasure chests, and we got a tonic out of that one. And here we're in the Queen's chambers here. I'm going to go talk to her to proceed with the story. And there's another treasure chest. We got a ether out of that one. And the Queen tells her handmaidens, attendants, whatever you want to call them, to get lost. So they can talk in private. Chrono and the Queen. And it's actually not the Queen, it's Marley. And the reason they call her Linnea is because she looks like Linnea, which we'll see momentarily. And there's a very good reason for that, and we'll find out in a little bit. And Marley says that something's not right, something's wrong, something's going on. And she says she feels like she's being torn apart. And I'm not sure if you have to talk to her or not to trigger this. I just stood there for a minute or two and it didn't seem to do anything, so I talked to her again and triggered her disappearing, as you just saw. And now we have no music again. You can talk to the NPCs if you want, and they don't say a whole lot of anything of any real importance. And then we're going to go back down here, and this triggers Luca coming into the scene. She finally caught up with us. And Chrono tells her that Marley's gone, and she's surprised. And Luca realizes who she is. And Marley is actually Princess Nadia, who is a member of the royal family in the present. And thus she is a descendant of Queen Linnea, and that is why they think that she's a missing queen and that she looks like her. And there's the 3 predecessors of being queen before Marley came into the picture. And since Queen Linnea is gone, they basically said that if Linnea stays gone, then Marley will no longer exist. She'll basically disappear, which is kind of similar to the Back to the Future storyline, if you ever have seen that movie, which is a very good movie, one of my favorites. And Marty McFly had a similar problem where he had to get his parents together to ensure that he would still be born. And this is somewhat similar to that. I mean, not identical, of course, but similar in concept. And Luke is in our group now, and we're gonna get some more treasure chests. Got some gold out of that one. There's another black one there that we can't get right now. Come back to it later. There's a Chancellor just staring at a wall for some reason. And we startled him, and he turned around and yelled at us. This is the King's chambers here. For some reason, the Queen and the King have separate bedrooms, even though they're supposed to be married, I guess, which is kind of weird. We got some armor there for Chrono. Like I said, I remembered that was going to happen, so I decided not to buy any. And it was a wise move on my part to not buy any, because I would have had ditched it for the bronze mail that we got. And I decided to talk to the King again, because I couldn't remember if you had to do that or not. So I did it just in case. I don't think you actually have to go down to the night quarters like he said. I think you can just leave, but I did it anyways, just in case. And this basically functions like an inn. It will recover your hit points and magic points. And now we're ready to leave out of the castle here. and proceed with the rest of the story. And we gotta go back to the forest again, because there's no way around that. And fight some more of these idiots. I'm trying to do Cyclone on all three of them, but it doesn't want to let me, even though it looks like they're close enough together to me. So I'm just going to sit here and let them walk around for a little bit until they get close enough to be grouped together for me to use Cyclone on them. It may have been faster to just attack them individually at this point, but damn it, I wanted to use Cyclone. So I just waited and let them do their little attacks, which do nothing. And they should be grouping up here momentarily. There we go. Got them close enough together to do Cyclone. And take out all three in one hit. Got another level for Chrono there. And we get a different enemy here. There's some of these birds. They're called blue eaglets. These are pretty weak. They only have 16 health. They do that beak attack there, which kind of slows you down, I think. As you can see, Luke is flashing. And we one-shot all three of them, but one at a time in this case, because they weren't close enough to do Cyclone, and they do not move enough to group up to do Cyclone. And we're out of the forest, so I decided to save again. And our next target, our goal, is the Cathedral there. And I was gonna do that for that part, but I decided to save that for the next part of this video series. So that is it for this part of the Chrono Trigger Let's Play. And the next part we'll go through the Cathedral and see what's going on with that. So until then, thanks for watching.